Hello everyone and welcome back. This is Bob from LSC Digital, and today we're going to continue our sort of how-to series by going over performance insights. And to start by talking about performance insights, you also need to create what Performance Insights calls your audiences. So in order to create an audience, you actually have to build a query. So we're going to start by building a query to create a new audience. So to do that, we're going to do our data. We're going to come down to queries quick. And what we'll do is we will click Create Query. And I'm going to blow through this pretty quickly. If you need to know how to create a query, please check our tutorial on how to create queries in our How to Create a Mailing series. So we're going to blow through, like I said, pretty quickly. So we're going to go to LSC Databases, LSC Salesforce, select, and we're going to call this query Audience. Pretty basic, pretty simple. Then we're going to save it under our Audiences Queries folder. Select and click OK. Now, the best way to describe how you would want to create your audience query is to build it not based off of a query that you would send a mailing to, but as a query that you would use to maybe pull out some metrics that aren't normally placed in your mailing metrics. So in this case, we're going to choose Profile, Data Fields. We're going to take a look at our employees. And because our employees field should all be numbers, we're going to choose is greater than. And we're going to give this a value of 1,000. This will give us contacts in our database whose companies have more than 1,000 employees. We're going to click Done, and we're going to click Save and Calculate. Okay, and we're going to submit this. Now great, so we'll see that our data job is right here. And from here, we don't need to really do anything else in terms of the query itself. So we're going to click right here up to Reports, and then choose Performance Insights. All right, so here in our Performance Insights menu, we'll choose Audience Management. And you'll see that we already have 9 out of our 10 allotted audiences here. So we've just created our 10th, so we would click Add Audience. And then here we would want to search for the audience that we just created. So we would just type in audience and click search, and here it is. Best practices that I have found is to capitalize letters that are capitalized, and that should give you the best result. And if you need to change the audience name based off of any differentiation in how you set your queries, you can do that here. In this case, we're just going to click Save. So once you do that, all you have to do is scroll down if you need to or not, and you'll see the audience right here, and you'll see that its status is set to scheduled. Now, what this means is every time you set an audience, you'll have to wait maybe 15 to 20 minutes before that audience is fully set into Performance Insights. But what you need to realize is that in order for your mailings to use these audiences, the audiences must be created before the mailings are sent. So we won't see any information on this audience query today, but off of our next mailing, we will definitely be able to use this. With that being said, we'll use our 9 pre-existing audiences, and we'll take a look at one of our mailing performance. We're going to look at quarter to date, which is pre-built through the system itself. And I have built a few widgets here. You can customize any widget anyway, and I'll go through a couple of them with you today. So I'm going to start by clicking Reset Table. That allows us to select some of our mailings. So we have 4 mailings that were sent out for our webinar series that's coming up. this one right here that was not selected was actually sent out to today. So we will click on it anyways, and we'll get some data off of it. But it's best to wait a full 24 to 48 hours after sending a mailing or after your mailing has completed to get the full picture. So we're going to click compare, and you'll see that all of our widgets are changing. And you'll see right here, based off of just this graph alone, that the mailing that we've just sent to today doesn't really have a whole lot of information built into it yet. But what we're going to do is we're going to start right here with our engagement KPIs. This is where you would do your general overall sort of performance for all of the mailings that you've selected. And remember, you can pick up to 10 mailings, so you can do this for either one mailing or, like I said, up to 10. But what we'll do is we'll click the three dots. We're going to click Edit Widget. And you'll see right here that I have set our unique open rate, a unique click rate, hard bounces, soft bounces, and our unique click to open rate. These can be set up in using any of these metrics. And you'll see here we have email metrics, and then in here this whole column can be used. So based off of what you're most looking for, you can use any of these metrics. All you have to do to get one of your metrics into your selected option is just click on it and you'll see it shows up. You cannot drag and drop these. So if you want them to appear in a specific order, you need to click on them out of this metrics column into here in the order in which you want them to appear. And then you just have to click on Apply, Update Widget, and you'll see right here the delivered option was added in. And then click Save, and then Confirm. Allow the whole screen to reload, and you'll see our widget has updated right here. Now, in order to create a new widget, let's say the default set that's already here isn't exactly what you're looking for, you choose the menu up in the corner and Add Widget. And from here, you'll see you have chart, you have your key performance indicators, top links, table, and text area. Text area doesn't necessarily change with your reports. It just adds, like this says here, some context for your data and any additional information. This is handy if you have users set up who are purely reporting users. This will allow them to view the data in the manner in which you would like to see. In this case, we're going to click Cancel because we're going to use what we have already. Now here you'll see I have a unique opens, and it's a graph. And then over here are all of our audiences. Now because the audience that we set up just a minute ago hasn't finished, it will not show up here. So you'll see that there's always a total unique contacts. We can turn that off so that way we're not cluttering our data. And you'll note here that all of these information, you'll note over here that all of the audiences are based off of geographical regions in the United States. And you'll see at the bottom here, this no audience. So the no audience will show up anytime that you have any contacts who were sent the mailing who are not actually in any of your predetermined audiences. They will be defaulted to this no audience. So if you have, for example, the full 10 audiences, you will always see this total unique contacts, and you may see this no audience. Each one is color coded. So you'll note here, and you can click the little buttons, the colors, to make and disappear any particular data field, or in this case column. And you can click on any of the columns that you need to lock their data in place here. So we'll see that our reminder Google webinar email had 501 unique opens in the Northeast region that we have set up. Now, in our case here, these are set up based off of time zones. Except for Alaska and Hawaii, we group them together. And the Eastern time zone we split into Northeast and Southeast, just because we have a lot of contacts whose business is located in the Eastern time zone. And we are located in Connecticut, so we have our own Connecticut audience, so that way we can monitor more closely our home state. And you'll see right here, Connecticut unique opens were 77 in this case for this particular mailing. Now, in order to change this sort of graph, you'll just click here in the corner. Same thing, edit widget. And we will see right here, our primary dimension is our mailing name, which is right here along the traditional x-axis. Our metric, primary metric, is our unique opens, which are here along our y-axis. And our secondary dimension in this case is audience name, which allows it to sit right up here so we can select and unselect audience names based off of this information. Now, if we didn't have this secondary dimension of our audience name, we would just see the unique opens per email in one large column. And then what we'll do here is we'll come in and we'll adjust a few things so we can change how our graph looks. So we're going to change our primary dimension to day of week. Click replace because you can only have one. We're going to click apply and update the widget. Now, what this will do is it will remove the mailing names from the bottom. So if you know exactly what you're selecting, this may not be that bad of an option. But if you need to track specific mailings within your selection, you'll definitely want to keep mailing name in here. But now you'll see Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all of the days of the week, starting Monday to Sunday. And we'll see here Friday. We had a lot of activity on Fridays. And you'll notice that our total unique contacts is the green column, which we just disappeared. And in here, so maybe we want to consider sending mailings out on Fridays more often because we have a lot of activity here. Now, if any of your metrics deal with time, in this case, day of the week, you have the ability to select a line graph. And this is more of what this looks like. So this gives you maybe some more high insight view into performance, but this is always based off of time. So we're going to click cancel because we do not want to save this. And you'll notice our unique opens graph has not changed. And I have the same thing set up here, except instead of unique opens, we have unique clicks. So that way we can very accurately, top to bottom, do a quick visual comparison. And these will always generally be fairly uniform from one mailing to the next. This just allows us to see, in this particular case, if any region is more active than others. We'll notice that our central audience here, which is in purple, you'll see has generally their click bars are higher than their open bars visually speaking, and everyone else tends to look about the same. So maybe we want to create some material more specifically related to the central time zone. Now down here we have a second key performance indicator section, and if you need to delete a widget by any chance, you click the same area right here in the corner and then simply choose delete widget and then select delete, and it will disappear and reload the page for you. Now, coming back down, you'll see where that widget was. So we'll want to move this table up, and you'll notice the grid that appeared in the back when we did that. We can also drag and adjust all of the widgets on the screen. This is helpful for however you best absorb the data that you need to look at. So we can make these graphs as small or as large as we need to be. Now, tables are very good if you want to absorb large amounts of data. The KPI widget is great for a quick overview, but if you really need to jump in, the tables are the best way to go. We'll see that we still use our open rate unique, our click rate unique, and our total delivereds down here. And this gives us a pretty good overview with percentages of regions where we're doing fairly well. And we'll see down here our no audience has a single delivered. So that no audience will always show up unless we can find and pinpoint the one contact in the audience and just check to make sure that there is some information there. And then finally, coming down here, our top links are very handy for a quick overview of how the links are doing in our mailings. This information over here is handy. So this is the default name that the system gives to our link right here. You notice each one is different, each one is unique, and it's best practice to name your link because it's very easy to keep track of them this way. But here, because we're really only sending folks to a single URL, if we expand this a little further, you'll notice these 3 URLs are identical. We can just quickly add up their unique clicks, and that'll give us an idea of how many people received our email and clicked through to our registration for our webinar. And that's pretty much the basics of Performance Insights. Now, this is a very powerful tool. You can create it to basically report anyway on any filter set. To change the filters, you just come up to the filter icon, click on it, and you can start kind of narrowing down everything that you have. So for example, if your mailing name contains the text newsletter, for example, if you have sent out a lot of newsletters, you can choose mailing name as a filter and then filter it by newsletter and then save it, and then it will show up right over here underneath the mailing performance section, and you'll be able to quickly click on it, and anything up here in this table area will be filtered through to mailing names that contain newsletter, which might be very handy for you. And that concludes the basics of Performance Insights. And if by any chance you're interested in any of LSC's webinars, we'll have a link in the description below, and hope to see you there. Who is LSC Digital? Everything we do is backed up by our quality data, meticulously collected and updated frequently by our team of experts. When you partner with LSC, you have your own team of experts who will work with you to plan and execute all of the steps of an effective program, from strategy and audience selection to content development and promotion. Our team delivers campaigns that appeal and connect with your target customers. This is the intersection of data and strategy that brings results.